Chapter 990. Nothing, Yi Liangkai said softly. Yi Hua took a look at Yi Liangkai, and the latter shrunk back, appearing to be very afraid. This big brother had really changed. In the past, although his gaze was cold, there was still a trace of kinship in it. But now, there was no kinship in the coldness, only a trace of killing intent. Yi Hua didn't pay attention to him, turned around, and walked towards the entrance of Yi family. The attitude he displayed was like the boss of Yi family. Why did Yi Hua want to go out early in the morning? The reason was actually very simple. He wanted to go out and see what breakfast was available. After all, it was the god's realm, so the breakfast should be rich and varied. Moreover, other than eating breakfast, he also needed to let others know that he had returned. Take it as revenge for my past self. Yi Hua stood in front of Yi Hua's house, and the guards on both sides were still looking at Yi Hua with an astonished gaze. It felt so unreal. Yi Hua slowly walked down the stairs, and his outfit quickly attracted everyone's attention. A man who saw Yi Hua was already shocked to the point that he was speechless. This is... A woman who was holding her child's hand looked at Yi Hua, who was slowly walking over. Back then I was still young, but now, I have become the mother of my child. Oh my God! I saw a ghost. This is Yi Hua. It can't be that Yi Juetian is impersonating him, right? One of the men asked doubtfully. However, he was quickly refuted by a group of people. For Yi Juetian to have this kind of expression, he can't even compare to Yi Huajun. That's right, this is the real Yi Huajun. Aren't you curious whether this is a human or a ghost? The group of girls rolled their eyes. Such a handsome guy, even if he's a ghost, I'd still recognize him. The news of Yi Hua appearing on the streets quickly spread throughout the entire Spirit City. Some people were simply running around and shouting at the top of their lungs. What, Yi Hua is back? Everyone, quickly come and take a look. Towards this kind of situation, Yi Hua appeared to be very calm and collected. This is just a small scene, and I, the Supreme Overlord, don't put it in my eyes at all. As for these women, they were no different from those women on Earth. When they saw me, they wanted to offer their filthy bodies to me. They were really shameless. Am I that kind of man? However, the breakfast in this spirit capital is still nothing much. I still feel that the breakfast on Earth is delicious enough. Suddenly, he wanted to eat fried dough sticks and porridge. The combination of the two was a perfect match. Let's try the meat buns here first. They look pretty good. Yi Hua could be seen walking towards a meat bun shop, and when the boss saw Yi Hua walking over, his face lit up. Yi Huajun, you're finally back. Xiao, AI, hurry up and prepare some meat buns for Yi Huajun, the uncle selling meat buns said excitedly. This caused Yi Hua to be very puzzled. Your expression is a bit too exaggerated. Therefore, Yi Hua waited quietly and did not have any reaction. The boss didn't seem to know what to say. Yi Hua took the 2 meat buns from the middle-aged woman and asked faintly, "How much is it?" Yi Huajun, there's no need for money. If it wasn't for you, Xiaoai and I would have been chased out of Spirit Capital long ago. After listening to what Yi Hua said, Yi Hua finally understood. It seems like in the past, I have always been a good person and doing good deeds. However, I, the Supreme Overlord, will never owe money when I eat. Putting things on credit is not my character. How much is it? Yi Hua asked again, and this time, his tone was a bit impatient. The boss was shocked and hurriedly said, "Even if it's me, Yi Huajun." Yi Hua took out 2 gold coins and placed it on the table, then left. Gold coins should be the universal currency. Using 2 gold coins to exchange for 2 meat buns. Who else is more extravagant than me? If you're not convinced, then feel free to argue. Following Yi Hua's reappearance on the street seemed to be surging with people. Everyone came to watch the show, causing Yi Hua to feel very awkward. They looked extremely similar to those idol-chasing people, that kind of passionate and fanatical gaze, as if with just a word from me, they would abandon their lives. In the past, Yi Hua was able to bluff these commoners into becoming obedient. I'm afraid that I'm doing this to build a good foundation for myself to become an emperor. Thinking up to here, the corner of Yi Hua's mouth slightly arced up. Interesting. You have concealed yourself quite deeply. I saw through you with just a single look. Unfortunately, I was schemed against by someone else. If not, I'm afraid that you would have become an emperor by now. Not bad. I thought that you were a good person, but it turns out that your schemes aren't just ordinary. To win over the hearts of the people, to prepare to rebel against the heavens. If I didn't guess wrongly, this fellow was clearly getting married with Qian Yuqing on that day, but before the wedding ceremony was over, he ran out to fight. What kind of big matter caused him to not even have the mood to get married? From what I deduced, this fellow was precisely waiting for this opportunity, because he knew that these people had already started to make their moves. If he was able to survive, he would have an excuse to overthrow the emperor. At that time, all of the commoners would be cheering for Yi Hua. What a pity, he was still too young and was killed. If he wasn't killed, I wouldn't have appeared. Isn't it just that he wants to become an emperor? Let me think of a way it might really be possible. Are you Yi Huajun? A little girl could be seen standing in front of Yi Hua. The little girl raised her head and asked curiously. Yi Hua lowered his head and looked at the little girl, and discovered that the little girl looked a bit similar to Ali when she was young. Thus Yi Hua asked curiously, "What's wrong?" "Yi Huajun, follow me." The little girl seemed to be very anxious as she pulled Yi Hua and ran. Yi Hua was helpless. After all, my identity right now is the good Yi Hua who loves his people. Thus, Yi Hua temporarily put away his slightly ferocious side. Very quickly, Yi Hua was pulled to the side of the notice board. Right now, everyone was looking at Yi Hua's expression. They were very curious as to what would happen if Yi Hua saw his woman getting married to someone else. This spirit city would probably tremble 3 times. Yi Hua indeed saw it, and his pair of eyes gradually narrowed. This Qian Yuqing, to think that she said that she was infatuated with me, but it turns out that she was rushing back to get married. Hee. This is simply a joke. Everyone saw that Yi Hua's expression gradually changed, and his expression became darker and darker. Big brother. Big brother. Why did you run out? Yi Juetian finally found his big brother. This morning, when he came out, he saw the news that his sister-in-law was going to get married. Thus, he became anxious and hurriedly ran back. He discovered that his big brother wasn't at home, and only after he went out did he find out that his big brother had actually run out to take a stroll. If big brother were to find out that his sister-in-law was going to get married to the royal family, wouldn't he go crazy? Facing Yi Juetian's words, everyone once again confirmed that this was indeed Yi Hua. However, Yi Juetian's words at the end were a bit strange. It was as if Yi Hua was a lunatic and suddenly ran out. Yi Hua turned around and looked at Yi Juetian coldly. The latter was given a fright. As expected, he got angry. Yi Hua walked towards Yi Juetian and stood in front of Yi Juetian, then stretched out his hand and poked Yi Juetian's chest. "This is the good woman that you guys are talking about." Sorry, I went out to give New Year greetings today. End of this chapter. He said he didn't like it, so what was the point of being jealous now? Lu Jing held onto Yi Hua's hand and sat down, then said tenderly, "Yi Hua, you must remain calm at a time like this. This is definitely not Yuqing's idea. This is the emperor's plan. Whether it's a scheme or not, this is my stance," Yi Hua said indifferently. Yi Hua seemed to have lost his rationality a bit. This was different from the Yi Hua in the past. In the past, no matter what happened, Yi Hua would not panic. Even if he had a conflict with Qing Ye, he would not panic. But today, he looked like he was going to get a divorce and did not even give him a chance to explain. He even showed a very impulsive look, which was not up to standard. When Lu Jing saw her son's unyielding attitude, she persuaded, "I know Yuqing. She would never do anything to let you down. At this point the two of you should get through this together." "I'm not interested in that. I'm going back to rest," Yi Hua said faintly, then turned around and left. "Yi Hua." Lu Jing stood up and called out to Yi Hua. However, Yi Hua was the one who left. Seeing Yi Hua leave angrily, Lu Jing let out a light sigh. "Little Tian, your big brother is currently in a fit of anger. Don't tell Yuqing about this, okay?" "And mother, I understand." Of course, Yi Juetian knew what his mother meant. She was afraid that his big brother would say something hurtful. After all, sister-in-law must be in a lot of pain now. If she was hurt by big brother and couldn't figure it out, what would happen? Right now, Yi Juetian was following behind Yi Hua. Even if Yi Hua were to walk into the house, Yi Juetian would still follow after Yi Hua. However, towards such a situation, Yi Hua did not stop them. However, in the Qian family, Qian Yuqing was already done grieving. Qian Yi comforted her for a long time but to no avail, so she left. "Miss, your health is important. You should eat something," a maid standing on the side said respectfully. Qian Yuqing hadn't eaten anything yet, but it didn't matter to the gods. Qian Yuqing sat on the bed in a daze, thinking about how to get rid of this engagement. "Miss." The maid seemed like she wanted to say something, but she was afraid. Qian Yuqing came back to her senses and said faintly, "If you have something to say, just say it." "It's like this, miss. I heard from those servants that Yi Hua came back today." The maid lowered her head and said, "Yi Hua came back?" Qian Yuqing didn't react for a moment. "Yes, miss, a lot of people saw him on the streets today." Qian Yuqing finally reacted and immediately stood up, then asked excitedly, "Yi Hua came back?" "Yes, miss." Looking at the smiling expression on the miss's face, the maid was a bit worried. Qian Yuqing was overjoyed. "Yi Hua really came back. This is great. Yi Hua still likes me. This bad fellow, I even hugged him that day, and he still placed me back to where I was. I have never seen such a stupid man before." Chapter 992. Qian Yuqing, who was caught off guard, was pushed down. Yi Juetian was stupefied. "Big brother, isn't this too merciless?" Qian Yuqing was stupefied as well. Yi Hua actually pushed me away, and even said, "Scram." Yi Hua's face did not have any unnecessary expression, as if the person who was pushed down just now was an enemy, and he did not have any feeling of shame at all. Yi Juetian was the first to react, and he hurriedly walked to the front of Qian Yuqing. "Sister-in-law, are you all right?" Right now, Qian Yuqing was very confused. It has been 1,000 years since we last met, and now that we finally met again, she was pushed away by Yi Hua fiercely. I have imagined many scenes of us meeting each other, but I have never imagined such a scene. Yi Hua did not pay attention to Qian Yuqing, who was at the side, and silently looked at the cup of water, seemingly thinking about something. Yi Juetian helped Qian Yuqing up, and he did not know what to say. In the end, he still said in a low voice, "Sister-in-law, big brother knew about it, that's why he got angry." This explanation was still very useful. At least it let Qian Yuqing know why Yi Hua got angry. So it was because of marriage. Qian Yuqing lightly walked to Yi Hua's back and looked at this familiar back view. It was exactly the same as before. There was no change at all. However, right now when she really saw it, she did not know what to say anymore. Her mood was exceptionally agitated, nervous, hesitant, and all sorts of other emotions were added together. "Yi Hua, it is not what you think. I did not do anything to let you down. I did not let anyone else touch me." In order to explain clearly, Qian Yuqing threw caution to the wind. Men naturally did not wish for their women to be touched by other men. "It has nothing to do with me," Yi Hua said coldly. However, this coldness was just like a sharp blade that was chopping onto Qian Yuqing's heart. Yi Juetian hurriedly said, "Big brother, this is definitely the emperor's plot. He knew that you had returned, and thus he was afraid, and thus wanted to use this kind of method to stimulate you." Qian Yuqing stood behind Yi Hua, feeling wronged. "I didn't expect that this kind of misunderstanding would occur during our first meeting. Don't say so much, just go and marry whoever you want to marry. Do as you wish." After hearing that, Qian Yuqing bit onto her lips tightly, and tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. "After so many years of hard work, at this moment, I actually obtained this kind of ending. Big brother, how can you say that about sister-in-law? Eldest sister-in-law has done so many things for mother. If it wasn't for eldest sister-in-law, mother wouldn't have been able to live for so long. Even if eldest sister-in-law is going to marry into the imperial family, it's also for mother. Why can't you understand eldest sister-in-law's bitter conscience?" Why did Yi Juetian feel that his big brother was still the same as before? Yi Hua's tone was still indifferent. "Mother's problem, I am able to solve it myself. There is no need for others to do it for me. Big brother, sister-in-law is one of us. How can she be someone else?" Yi Juetian was very confused. Why did he have to say such hurtful words? Qian Yuqing lightly pressed onto Yi Hua's arm. "Yi Hua, Yuqing is really not that kind of woman." Yi Hua struggled away from Qian Yuqing's hand. "What kind of woman you are, it has nothing to do with me now. I think I have already said it very clearly." I won't marry him. I will listen to everything you say, okay? Chen Yuqing begged. As long as Yi Hua didn't get angry, she was willing to do anything. Yi Hua said gravely, Chen Yuqing, there is no relationship between you and me anymore. You don't need to listen to me, and I don't want to see you. Scram. Hearing that Yi Hua told her to scram again, Chen Yuqing's tears flowed even more fiercely. Why did it turn out like this? Chen Yuqing held onto her face and left through the secret passage. Her heart was completely broken by Yi Hua. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother, then looked at his sister-in-law who was leaving. He didn't know who he should persuade. Yesterday, they had clearly agreed that big brother and sister-in-law were going to be together again and continue their former fate. However, right now, where is there even a need to continue their former fate? There is basically no such thing. However, right at this moment, Yi Chen's voice rang out from outside. Big brother, His Majesty has sent a decree. Yi Hua immediately stood up and opened the door. Yi Chen, who was standing outside, immediately took a step back and slightly lowered his head, feeling very fearful. Right now, it is better for me not to provoke big brother, lest I end up like my father, being tossed around by big brother. Although it doesn't hurt, my face hurts a lot. Yi Hua didn't say anything and walked towards the main hall. Yi Chen took a look at Yi Juetian, who was in the main hall, then hurriedly followed after Yi Hua. Yi Juetian hurriedly followed after Yi Hua. The emperor is truly anxious to think of ways to get rid of big brother right now. Furthermore, he is going to start from big sister-in-law first. As expected of the emperor. Arriving at the main hall, Yi Hua saw Yi Shan, his mother Lu Jing, and a few brothers. Of course, there was also their mother. Compared to his mother, they were indeed much more mature. His mother seemed to have aged a lot, but the reason for this was because she missed her main body too much. In the future, I will slowly nurse my body back to health. When Yi Shan saw Yi Hua walking over, he didn't have a good expression on his face. As for the two women who were standing at the side, the plump one was called Ran Yu. She was Yi Chan and Yi Yuanqing's birth mother. The other one was rather skinny, but she didn't lose her beauty. Chapter 994. This time, Yi Juetian still decided to go over and see how big sister-in-law was doing. This big brother is muddle-headed. I have to go and explain to him to prevent sister-in-law from becoming mentally and physically exhausted. If she really ends up marrying Huang Yun, it would be over. Why are you following me? Yi Hua asked faintly. Big brother, I am going to look for big sister-in-law. Why are you looking for her? Big brother, could it be that you have the heart to watch big sister-in-law marry another man? Yi Juetian was puzzled. In the past, big brother was rather overbearing. Yi Hua snorted. None of my business. Big brother, just continue to be stubborn. I want to see how long big brother can be stubborn for. After finished speaking, Yi Juetian walked away angrily. When Yi Hua returned to his room, he discovered that Yi Juetian had long entered the secret passageway. Not long later, Yi Juetian arrived at Chen Yuqing's room. The first thing he did was to knock on the door. Chen Yuqing was currently crying loudly on the bed, and she was unable to stop crying at all. I have done so many things for Yi Hua, but in the end, Yi Hua hurt me deeply, and even said that he doesn't want me anymore, and even told me to scram. Yi Juetian knocked for a long time, but no one came over. Thus, he carefully pried open the door and took a look, and a choking sound rang out in his mind. Yi Juetian hurriedly crawled out and looked at his big sister-in-law who was lying on the bed. Sister-in-law, calm down. Yi Juetian walked behind Chen Yuqing and consoled her. With someone consoling her, Chen Yuqing cried even more fiercely. Yi Juetian had no way of dealing with girls crying. He could only forcefully explain, Sister-in-law, you have to think about why big brother is provoking you. Why? Chen Yuqing asked while choking with sobs. That sobbing sound made one's heart ache. This kind of woman. There is actually a man who made her angry. Is it because you have too many goddesses in your family? If you have the ability, give me one as well. Big brother is protecting you and not letting you get involved in this mess. Yi Juetian said blindly. Just now, he had a flash of inspiration. Saying it like that doesn't seem to be wrong, right? Hearing Yi Juetian's words, Chen Yuqing immediately stopped crying and asked seriously, is it true? Qian Yuqing would rather believe such a lie than Yi Hua's heartlessness. Sister-in-law, think about it. The emperor is obviously targeting Big Brother, and he's using you to mess things up. Big Brother will feel sorry for you, so he's acting very fierce to let the emperor know that Big Brother doesn't matter now. After Yi Juetian said that, he felt that it was still all right. It couldn't be that Big Bro was real, right? It was as though he was speaking the truth. After Qian Yuqing heard this, she furrowed her eyebrows and thought about it carefully. I heard that Lord Yi was very angry when he saw that Qian Yuqing was going to marry the 9th prince. At this moment, a man in a green cloak said, "This is really disappointing." "Brother, what do you think?" The green-cloaked man said with a trace of worry. "To think that I, Prince Yi, got rid of evil for the people 1,000 years ago, and only then did I manage to obtain the peaceful spiritual city that we have today. Yet, the only woman that I deeply loved, yet, when I returned, she married someone else. Isn't this making the soldiers bitterly disappointed?" "But I heard that both parties agreed on this," the green-cloaked man said in a low voice. "Is Qian Yuqing that kind of woman?" After finished speaking, the green-cloaked man walked out of the tea-house. However, everyone in the tea-house was thinking about the question from just now, and the more they thought about it, the more they felt that was the case. This Lord Yi is truly pitiful. He just came back, and his wife is going to marry someone else. That's right, and it was even the emperor who personally gave the decree. Does this count as snatching away his wife's love? Seems like the emperor doesn't treat Lord Yi as well as we thought. Shoo! If you say this softly, if someone were to hear it, your head would be chopped off. Thank you for your reminder, brother. However, this kind of topic was still very popular, and even spread out. Everyone was discussing about it. Of course, there was also the matter of what was going to happen during tonight's banquet. This truly made everyone curious. Right now, Yi Hua was thinking about the question. Hearing the sound of the floorboard, Yi Juetian slowly crawled out. "Big brother, I have returned." Yi Juetian was already at ease. Sister-in-law had already been coaxed to be happy, and there was no need for her to be angry or not. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't say anything. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother's expression, then let out a deep sigh. "Big brother, do you know what sister-in-law was doing when I went over just now?" Yi Hua still didn't say anything, but Yi Juetian discovered that his big brother wanted to ask, but was too embarrassed to ask. "Sister-in-law actually. She's at. Forget it, it's better that I don't say it, in case big brother gets sad after hearing it." "Yi Hua. No matter what you say, I won't be interested," Yi Hua said indifferently. Yi Juetian said in a low voice. "Big brother, if I was a step late just now, sister-in-law would have died." Big brother's sister-in-law committed suicide by hanging herself. Yi Hua laughed lightly. "Deity, committing suicide by hanging herself, can't you be a bit more realistic when you are lying?" "Big brother, it's the truth. Sister-in-law no longer has any hope to continue living anymore." In terms of seniority and position, it was normal for Huang Yun to bow. Yi Hua looked at this Huang Yun in front of him and felt that this Huang Yun was a worthy opponent. Huang Yun's relationship with Yi Hua was so stiff, and yet, he was still able to come over and greet Yi Hua. There are quite a few people like this in the world, and only opponents like this would be interesting. I wonder who is stronger, you or your father? "So, it's the 9th prince," Yi Hua said indifferently. Huang Yun's current state of mind was extremely good. He began introducing Qian Yuqing to Yi Hua. "Prince Yi, this is Qian Yuqing, she is my fiancée. We are going to get married in a few days. Yuqing, hurry up and greet her." Qian Yuqing shook her lips and slightly leaned forward. "Prince Yi." Huang Yun didn't know why, but when he heard Qian Yuqing calling Yi Hua Prince Yi, he felt especially comfortable in his heart, indescribably comfortable, as if he had won against Yi Hua. Furthermore, he won it from a woman. Snatching money, snatching equipment, there is nothing better than snatching women. This kind of feeling is incomparable. Yi Hua looked at Qian Yuqing coldly. This gaze caused Huang Yun to feel even more comfortable. No matter how awesome you are, isn't your woman still going to sleep with me? Ha 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 ha. Prince Yi, this is Lord Qian, Yuqing's father. Huang Yun continued introducing. However, this introduction made Yi Hua a bit surprised. I thought that Qian Yuqing was just an outsider. I really didn't expect that he would be my enemy. He is actually Qian Yuqing's father. This is getting interesting. Prince Yi. Prime Minister Shan Junren could be seen walking over with an amiable smile, and behind him was a young man. This young man was Shan Junren's youngest son, Shan Yu. Shan Yu had a dignified appearance, his eyes were as bright as silver stars, and his body was tall and straight. A man like this should be someone who fought on the battlefield, but looking at Shan Yu's official uniform, he seems to be a civil official. Seems like he is walking on the same path as his father. At this moment, Yi Yuanqing whispered into Yi Hua's ear, "Big brother, this is the Prime Minister, Shan Junren, and beside him is his son, Shan Yu." A trace of an arc suddenly appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. "Prime Minister Shan, it has been many years since we last met, but you are still the same as before." The attitude that Yi Hua suddenly displayed caused everyone to become speechless. This mother-asterisk king drift was too fast, to the point where no one was able to react to it at all. A second ago, it was as if he was looking at everyone as his enemy, and in the next second he was actually smiling. F***ck me. The speed at which his face changed was simply too fast. Furthermore, he was even smiling towards Prime Minister Shan Junren. Chapter 1003. Huang Feidi chuckled and said, "Prince Yi is really considerate of General Yi. Of course, after all, General Yi is also my little sister." Yi Hua said faintly. What he meant was very clear: if you want to touch General Yi, then you have to deal with me first. Yi Yuanqing was very grateful to his big brother for everything that he had done for me. It has been so many years since we last met, and big brother is actually able to protect me like this. Even more than how I treat my sister-in-law. It would be great if big brother could protect sister-in-law. What if this emperor insists on doing so? Huang Feidi asked faintly. When these words were spoken, everyone's gaze looked towards Yi Hua, and they were all waiting to see how this Prince Yi would retort back. And how would the emperor choose? Right now, Qian Yuqing only hoped that Yi Hua wouldn't act recklessly. If he were to continue fighting like this, he would end up in a passive situation, and at that time, the emperor would definitely be able to get hold of his weakness. On the other hand, Huang Yun wanted Yi Hua to continue fighting back. Isn't he very awesome? Huang Li and Qian Yuqing's thoughts were the same. Taking a step back at this time, the sea and the sky are wide open. I can slowly plan in the future. Right now, Yi Shan's mood was a bit complicated, but right now, he was basically unable to say anything. In any case, I am going to be killed by Yi Hua. This Yi family is going to be destroyed by Yi Hua's hands sooner or later. Yi Yuanqing gritted her teeth. If her elder brother continued to argue, the emperor might take action. After all, this was a feast at Hongmen. However, was Yi Hua that kind of person who was afraid of trouble? Sometimes, attacking first would add another layer of difficulty to the game. Just as Yi Hua was about to say something, Yi Yuanqing spoke first. "This subject thanks your majesty for bestowing this marriage." Yi Yuanqing's words stunned everyone. They all felt that the brother-sister relationship of the Yi family was quite deep. The older brother fought against the emperor for the younger sister, and the younger sister gave up her own ideals for the older brother. Such siblings were indeed rare. Yi Shan never thought that his daughter would do such a thing. It was truly shocking. Qian Yuqing also didn't expect that Yi Yuanqing would actually agree to it. Most likely, this is all so that Yi Hua doesn't offend the emperor. However, right now, Yi Hua was very unhappy. He turned his head and looked towards his little sister with cold eyes. "The words that you said just now, isn't it equivalent to saying that I, your brother, am not good enough? You made me lose face. You silly sister, you're not helping your big brother at all. You're making the enemy happy." That's why I, the Supreme Overlord, often say, women are just that their hair is long, but their knowledge is short. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji also had this kind of bad habit. Huang Feidi laughed lightly. Huang Feidi was also feeling very irritated in his heart. I was just waiting for Yi Hua to come at me. He didn't expect Yi Yuanqing to say such a thing. Prince Yi, it seems that General Yi is quite sensible, don't you think so? Yi Hua knew that things would turn out like this. This emperor is scolding me for being insensible in a roundabout way. Fine. I, the Supreme Overlord, am a person who bears grudges. I, the Supreme Overlord, will remember this debt, and when the time comes, I will let you pay for it with interest. I, the Supreme Overlord, must think of a way. This little sister of mine is just timid, Your Majesty. Please don't take offense. Yi Hua laughed lightly. When Huang Feidi heard this, his face darkened. Even Shan Junren was the same, and so was every single person sitting here. The meaning behind Yi Hua's words just now was already provoking the emperor. He said that his sister was afraid, but he himself was not. Prince Yi, what do you mean by that? Huang Yun asked in a deep voice. There were some questions that he had to ask himself. Yi Hua looked towards Huang Yun and said faintly, when adults are talking, children should not interrupt. Everyone, according to seniority, in front of Yi Hua, Huang Yun was indeed a child. Huang Yun's expression immediately became bad. This Yi Hua is actually looking at me like a child. Don't you know that the child that you are talking about is going to sleep with your woman? Right now, Huang Feidi wanted to get angry, but he didn't have any evidence to use against Yi Hua. If he were to get angry wrongly, his reputation would be affected. I blame myself for giving Yi Hua a posthumous reputation back then. If I didn't, this matter would be much easier to handle. Huang Yun isn't young anymore. Isn't he going to get married and have a child soon? I will have to trouble Yuqing then. Huang Feidi isn't someone to be trifled with. Your woman is going to give me a grandson soon. Can you endure it or not? Qian Yuqing's face became a bit pale. I won't do that. I definitely won't. If it really comes to that, Yuqing would rather die. Then, congratulations, Your Majesty. Most of the people thought that Yi Hua would go against the emperor again, but the result was surprising. For his sister, Prince Yi dared to go against the emperor, but this former woman didn't receive such treatment. This Qian Yuqing is indeed pitiful. Qian Yi, who was sitting below, couldn't bear to watch anymore. My daughter is just a chess piece that is being manipulated by them. Was my way of doing things wrong? I shouldn't have let my daughter get involved in this power struggle. When Qian Yuqing heard what Yi Hua said, how could she feel good in her heart? Yi Hua, do you still want Yuqing or not? After hearing what Yi Hua said, Huang Feidi laughed loudly, then raised his cup and said, Today, there are two happy events. Let's drink this cup of wine. Your Majesty, blessings. The officials immediately congratulated. The two happy events naturally referred to Huang Yun and Qian Yuqing, as well as Shan Yu and Yi Yuanqing. Looking at the current power struggle, Yi Hua seemed to be losing by a bit. After all, this was an away game, and they had too many advantages. If this matter were to happen in Wuxia Empire, hang and beat them up. However, I don't want to use martial strength to hang and beat you all up. That would be too much of a bully. After the cup of wine was finished, the people below returned to their seats. Yi Yuanqing lowered his head and remained silent. Big Brother offended the emperor for me, and I can also give up my future for Big Brother. At the side, Yi Shan was silent. No one knew what he was thinking. Shan Yu's mentality was similar to Yi Yuanqing's. Marrying a woman he didn't like was too dangerous. However, this was the emperor's decree. There was nothing he could do. The banquet was still going on, and Yi Hua was waiting for the emperor to continue making his move. I have to redeem myself. Otherwise, if his subordinates were to find out about this, wouldn't they laugh at him for losing face in someone else's territory? Lord Yi, how did you survive these 1,000 years? How did you manage to escape from death back then? Huang Feidi asked curiously. In actuality, he really wanted to know how Yi Hua had been living all these years, especially how Yi Hua had managed to survive back then. Upon hearing that, Yi Hua laughed lightly. Your Majesty, on that day, there was an expert who helped me, and I was able to preserve my life. However, my injuries were too severe, and during the treatment, I lost my memories. Master? Does Prince Yi still remember what it looks like? Huang Feidi asked in a low voice. Yi Hua said in a low voice, I don't remember what that person looked like, but he brought me to Kangluo continent. Huang Feidi was very confused. What Yi Hua said was different from what Jackdaw said. One of them was definitely lying. Then, Lord Yi has been living in Kangluo continent for the past 1,000 years? Yes, Yi Hua said faintly. Chapter 1004. Huang Feidi squinted his eyes and looked at Yi Hua. Seems like your Highness Yi has been living comfortably for the past 1,000 years. Not bad. Yi Hua's tone was still so calm, and his emotions were maintained in a straight line. This caused Huang Feidi to be a bit annoyed. Huang Feidi nodded his head and said with a smile, All right, your Highness Yi, back then, you still have an old subordinate who survived. When he heard that your Highness Yi has returned, he specially came over to see you. Old subordinate? What is this emperor trying to do again? He clearly knows that I have lost my memory, yet he is still talking about an old subordinate. He is probably here to see if I am real or fake. I would like to see him. Yi Hua said lightly. Since the emperor has already arranged everything, I will just continue playing the game. Following the eunuch's shout, a middle-aged man walked in. This person was dressed in ordinary clothes and was not very luxurious. The wrinkles on his face were very deep, like many scratches. Although he was no longer on the battlefield, a faint murderous aura bloomed in his eyes. As expected of a veteran soldier. Yi Yuanqing looked at the man who walked in and felt puzzled. I don't recognize this man. Big Brother's bodyguard even brought him home for a drink before, but I have never seen this man before. This commoner, Yang Yao, kowtows to your majesty. May your majesty be blessed. Yang Yao stopped walking and kneeled down. You may rise. Huang Feidi smiled faintly. Thank you, your majesty. Yang Yao stood up and slightly lowered his head. Yang Yao, your former General Yi is sitting here. Why didn't you greet him? Huang Feidi asked. It was clear that he was going to target Yi Hua. Yang Yao still lowered his head and said respectfully, Your Majesty, there is a difference between Prince Yi and General Yi. Right after Yang Yao said this, everyone present immediately went into an uproar. This person is definitely someone that the emperor found to trick me. Huang Yun was secretly delighted. This should be another one of father's chess pieces, right? Huang Feidi's expression sunk as he shouted out lightly. Audacious! How dare you disrespect Prince Yi? Yi Hua felt that it was funny. In terms of acting, who can be my opponent? This commoner doesn't dare, but this commoner is speaking the truth. Yang Yao was neither servile nor overbearing, appearing very upright and plain-spoken. At this moment, Huang Li suddenly said, Presumptuous, you actually dare to speak arrogantly in front of father. Huang Feidi glanced at his eldest son. The latter's body trembled and he quickly sat down. His father's warning just now was very clear. Huang Yun had seen it as well. Seems like as long as it was someone who was targeting Yi Hua, his father emperor would turn a blind eye to it. However, as long as it was someone who dared to create trouble, his father emperor would definitely not let him off easily. Seems like this brother of mine had misunderstood earlier on. Yang Yao, tell me the truth. If it is not the truth, then it is the crime of deceiving the emperor. Huang Yun shouted coldly. At this moment, it was definitely time for him to step up. His father had already made a good start, so he had to be tactful. This commoner doesn't dare to deceive you, then this commoner shall be bold. Yi Hua was very curious as to how this old subordinate of mine is planning to trick me. I hope that this subordinate will not disappoint me. Yang Yao suddenly cupped his fists and said with a sorrowful tone, I heard that General Yi survived and even returned to Spirit Capital. As a survivor, I'm very happy. Because General Yi can work for the emperor again. But General Yi, on the other hand, made those deceased undead bitterly disappointed. Following Yang Yao's words, everyone began to ponder. How did they make General Yi feel bitterly disappointed? After General Yi returned, he didn't pay his respects to those deceased undead at all. Back then, if it wasn't for the deputy generals risking their lives to protect General Yi would probably. But towards those deputy generals who saved his life and the 100,000 soldiers, Prince Yi didn't even put them in his heart. How could a general like this not make those deceased undead bitterly disappointed? After hearing that, Yi Yuanqing's expression gradually became grave. The emperor wants to ruin Big Brother's reputation. This is really ruthless. After all, Big Brother has a very high position in the hearts of the people. If Big Brother were to carry a bad reputation, that would be a kind of disguised attack. Little Tian is really too much. Why didn't he remind Big Brother? Now that Big Brother is caught by someone else. A lot of people thought of this point. Indeed, Prince Yi should pay his respects to General Yi when he entered the city. Now that he has become a target for others to talk about, the gains do not make up for the losses. Yi Hua originally thought that the emperor would say that it was true or false, but he didn't expect that the emperor would still play the emotional card. This caught me a bit unprepared. After all, I don't know anything about what happened in the past. But this is what makes it interesting. This was originally a normal mode, but now, it should have become a hard mode. Do you think it's that easy to ruin my reputation? Prince Ye's actions are indeed lacking in bearing. Huang Yunxing said, ruthlessly attacking Yi Hua. Qian Yuqing, who was sitting at the side, wished that she could slap Huang Yunsheng away. When did you have the right to talk about my man? Scram. Huang Feidi laughed. Huang you can't blame Prince Yi for this. After all, Prince Yi doesn't even remember, which is why he didn't pay his respects to General Yi. Chapter 1005. Qian Yuqing looked at Yi Hua, who was emitting a domineering aura, and she felt very elated in her heart. This is my Yi Hua. He is even more formidable than before, to be able to directly threaten the emperor. Yi Shan was in despair. His first thought was that the Yi clan was doomed. Yi Yuanqing really wanted to give him a thumbs up and shout, "Brother is awesome." When Yi Hua said this sentence, not only did he express his wish to take revenge for the soldiers, he also conveniently ridiculed the emperor. In any case, he was ridiculing the person who was causing trouble behind the scenes. Yi Hua felt that he had made a huge profit out of this, as he was able to reverse the situation that he was in just a moment ago. Oh Emperor, if you have the ability, then go ahead and expose it. If he were to admit that he was the mastermind behind all this, the main body would be a little disappointed. After all, if he were to be exposed, it would mean that he would have to use force to solve the problem. Would a problem that could be solved by force still be considered a problem? Huang Feidi didn't expect that Yi Hua would say such a thing. And in front of so many people. He really wanted to chop off his head. In the end, Huang Feidi still underestimated Yi Hua. He thought that Yi Hua was still the same Yi Hua from before, the kind that doesn't know how to speak. I was still thinking of smearing Yi Hua's name tonight, but I didn't expect that I would be able to let Yi Hua show off his might, and he even wanted to hang me at the city gate. You have guts. Yi Hua. You have more guts than you did 1,000 years ago. Looks like you still haven't given up on this emperor's seat. I can take back what I gave you back then, and I can do the same now. However, the current Yi Hua was not interested in the throne. Rather, he wanted to do this, and then do that, and then enjoy their expressions of despair. That kind of helplessness should be able to make me feel happy. Huang Feidi chuckled. Prince Ye's words make this emperor blush with shame. I didn't expect Prince Yi to be so righteous. Even though I said that, how can I continue to give Yi Hua the military power? That doesn't exist. It wasn't easy for me to find an excuse to get back Yi Yuanqing's military power. The Yi clan should not be allowed to exist. They were a bunch of unruly people. Always eyeing this emperor's throne, if there is a chance, I will definitely eradicate the entire Yi clan. Kneeling on the ground, Yang Yao frowned. He couldn't let this go. I should perform a bit more. Maybe the emperor will take a fancy to me and give me a job. Yang Yao could be seen suddenly standing up, then pointing at Yi Hua he shouted, "You are a fake." Following this, everyone's expression changed. Even Huang Feidi's expression sank. This wasn't something he had arranged. Huang Feidi looked at Yang Yao. If I can prove that Yi Hua is a fake, that would be great. If I am unable to do so, then I would be throwing away my face, and I might even be ridiculed by Yi Hua. However, I am unable to do anything at all, and I feel as sullen as if I have just eaten feces. To put it bluntly, Huang Feidi had his own strengths and weaknesses, and Yi Hua also had his own strengths and weaknesses. The two of them had a tacit understanding, and for the time being, they did not shed all pretenses of cordiality. Huang Feidi was someone who cared a lot about his reputation. If not, after Yehua's death, he wouldn't have been conferred the title of General Shan Yong. Huang Li shouted angrily, "How dare you slander Lord Yi? This commoner dares not. This commoner has a way to prove it." Yang Yao was betting everything he had. Today was the day for him to make a comeback. After everyone heard this, they whispered to each other. Tonight was really not a peaceful night. However, this scene was simply too exciting. It had not happened for many years. This Prince Yi was stirring up trouble as soon as he came back. It was very interesting. "Do you know the consequences?" Huang Yun asked. "This commoner is willing to bear all the consequences." Yang Yao appeared very confident. Back then, he had indeed seen General Yi die, so how could General Yi come back to life? How could there be so many miracles in the world? This Prince Yi is most likely a fake. Huang Feidi looked at Yihua and asked, "Prince Yi, what do you think about this matter?" Huang Feidi's question wasn't because he was afraid. Rather, he didn't want others to say that he was doubting Yihua. Others could doubt Yihua, but he couldn't. "Let's give it a try then." Yihua still didn't know what Huang Feidi meant. At the same time, Yihua was also very curious about how Huang Feidi was going to prove it. Yang Yao could be seen taking out a white crystal from his sleeve. When everyone saw the crystal, they immediately knew that it wasn't an ordinary item. The crystal was emitting out a serene aura, and it should be an ancient artifact. Yang Yao explained, "This is a spirit gem, it is able to detect all lies." After everyone heard what Yang Yao said, they sucked in a breath of cold air. The first thing that came to their mind was that this spirit gem was given to them by the emperor. In actuality, the emperor was also a bit astonished right now. This matter has become a bit out of control. I have heard of this spirit gem before, and it indeed has such an effect. However, what if this Yihua is real? Right now, I can only hope that this Yihua is fake, because in everyone's heart, they all have their doubts about whether this Yihua is real or fake. It's just that they subconsciously believe that Yihua is not dead. Even Chen Yuqing, Yi Yuanqing, and Yi Shan had the same thoughts. There is nothing more powerful than a real hammer. The atmosphere of the scene was a bit heavy, and everyone was looking at the spirit gem that was floating in the air. It is truly the time to witness a miracle. Yihua stood up and stared at the officials. With this gaze, it was as if he was the emperor. At the very least, in the eyes of the officials, this kind of aura was indeed like that of an emperor. Chen Yuqing looked at Yihua worriedly, hoping that nothing bad will happen to him. Yihua slowly walked down the stairs and stood beside Yang Yao. Yang Yao immediately felt a pressure coming towards him. This pressure is even stronger than General Yi back then. Yang Yao's heart was thumping madly. It seems like it could jump out at any moment. Yihua could be heard saying faintly to everyone, "Since you all want to see it, I will show it to you all." After finished speaking, Yihua held the spirit gem in his hand. Yang Yao let out a sigh of relief. "I thought that Prince Yi was going to kill me just now. Prince Yi, I will ask, and you will answer. If I am not lying, the spirit gem will light up, and if I am lying, the spirit gem will dim down." After hearing that, Yihua nodded his head. "Then, I will test it first. Did Prince Yi drink alcohol just now?" "Yes." Following Yihua's words, the spirit gem in his hand indeed lit up. However, right now, Chen Yuqing was thinking, "Why didn't I ask Yihua if he loves me? Such a good opportunity." "Did Prince Yi drink alcohol just now?" "No." As expected, the spirit gem dimmed down. However, everyone wanted to scold Yang Yao for being an idiot. What a *king good opportunity this is. How could you ask such a stupid question? Huang Feidi was simply about to explode from anger. This is simply an idiot. Drink your *king alcohol. Yang Yao's expression gradually became grave. Prince Yi. Is he the General Yi in the past or not? This should be the question that everyone was concerned about, and right now, they were waiting for Yihua to answer. Yihua looked at everyone and said slowly, "Yes." Everyone stared at the spirit gem in Yihua's hand. If the spirit gem didn't light up, then tonight, there would be bloodshed. Reckon that the entire Yi family would be buried along with the spirit gem. If the spirit gem were to light up, the emperor would definitely have a headache. The good and the bad would be decided by a single thought. Chapter 1006. In actuality, Yihua had 10,000 ways to make the stone light up, but he suddenly didn't want to do it, because Yihua himself wanted to know if he was the Yihua of the past. After waiting for 2 breaths of time, the spirit stone in Yihua's hand still didn't light up, causing everyone to hold their breath. Looking at the situation, Huang Feidi's mouth gradually revealed an arc. As long as I wave my hand, I will be able to kill Yihua. In the royal family, other than Huang Li, everyone was hoping that the damned spirit stone wouldn't light up. However, among the officials, most of them hoped that the spirit stone wouldn't light up. From this, it could be seen how much of a failure Yihua was in the past. However, in the next second, everyone was about to be disappointed. The spirit stone immediately lit up, and the light illuminated the entire hall, to the point that it was a bit dazzling. As the spirit stone lit up, Chen Yuqing was the happiest, and the second happiest was naturally Yi Yuanqing. As expected of Big Brother. The third happiest was Huang Li. It's great that it's real. However, other than these 3 people, everyone else didn't have much happiness on their faces, including Yi Shan. However, he also let out a sigh of relief. If the spirit stone didn't light up just now, Yi family would probably be finished. Huang Feidi's expression didn't change, but he was feeling very unhappy in his heart. Doing this is basically publicly admitting that Yihua is really back. The loss outweighs the gain. This damned Yang Yao. He should have just killed him. He completely messed up my plan. I reckon that tomorrow, the entire city will be shouting that this Yihua is even more powerful than today. Right now, Yang Yao was a bit at a loss. This shouldn't be happening. Why did it light up? Why? How can General Yi still be alive? It's impossible. Yihua threw the spirit stone in his hand to Yang Yao, and Yang Yao reflexively caught it. Let me ask you a question. Yihua said faintly. Everyone swallowed their saliva. They clearly felt that Yihua was going to scold the emperor again. Even Huang Feidi's expression changed slightly, and he immediately looked towards Huang Yun. Of course, Huang Yun knew. Huang Li saw it, but he couldn't do anything. Before Yihua could ask his question, Huang Yun shouted out angrily, slandering His Highness, this is a death sentence. Yang Yao reacted, and he immediately knelt down and shouted, Emperor! However, he had only managed to say the word emperor when a bloody hole appeared between his eyebrows. Blood flowed down from between his eyebrows, dripping drop by drop onto the ground. It was a ghastly sight. Above the palace, no one had ever died. However, someone had died today. This was a bad omen. Shan Junren frowned. The blood of the imperial palace. The imperial family was shocked. This meant that someone from the royal family was going to die. Everyone was stunned. They were all thinking the same thing as Shan Junren. This was a prophecy about the crisis of the royal family. However, the person who could bring danger to the royal family was probably Prince Yi, who was standing here. Other than him, there was no one else. Huang Feidi looked at the expressions of the officials and seemed to have realized it. His face gradually darkened. He had been too careless just now. However, there was no other way. If Yihua were to ask this question, wouldn't I become the emperor who framed the loyal and virtuous emperor? If such a thing were to spread out, he could forget about continuing to sit on the throne. If this emperor were to make a choice again, it would still be the same. There was nothing much to say. This Lord Yi is smart. How smart? You only said one sentence, but you actually forced this emperor to kill someone in the hall. He even had to suffer the damage of rumors. Not bad. Yihua, you have improved. You can be this emperor's opponent now. Yang Yao's primordial spirit could be seen flying out from Yang Yao's body, and Huang Yun stretched out his hand and grabbed onto the primordial spirit. That weak primordial spirit immediately dissipated. Cutting the grass and not pulling out the roots, that would be the worst result. Huang Li swallowed his saliva. Right now, I don't want to say anything. The one who killed someone just now wasn't me. Please don't let this kind of curse land on me. The scene was completely silent. No one dared to breathe loudly. Yihua lowered his head and looked towards Yang Yao's corpse. I only wanted to ask if you drank alcohol tonight. This father and son pair killed you just like that. Their hearts are truly vicious. Even I have never been so vicious before. Sigh. Seems like I am still a good person. At least, compared to them, I am too kind. Yihua looked towards the emperor and said lightly, Thank you, your majesty. What a sarcastic sentence. Huang Feidi almost couldn't hold himself back anymore. This Yihua is too arrogant. This Yihua is too arrogant. This is blatantly mocking me. Huang Yun is the same as well. For me to kill my own people, this is already a joke. Chen Yuqing's beautiful eyes rippled. Yihua is so handsome, he is even more handsome than before. However, Chen Yuqing couldn't help but look towards that spirit gem. When the time comes, I will let Yihua grab onto that spirit gem and ask him if he likes me or not. Huang Feidi held back his anger and said with a smile, I had long felt that there was a problem with that person, and as expected, it was Prince Yi who was the one who probed that person out. Men, drag him out. Yihua sat back onto his seat and said lightly, Actually, I wanted to ask him if he drank alcohol tonight. Huang Feidi, like hell I will believe you. However, right now, Huang Yun's expression wasn't very good. Only after killing that person in the palace did he recall something. In the past generations, the royal family had never killed anyone in the palace. The blood of the royal family, the death of the royal family. Damn it! This Yihua. I will cut you into 1,000 pieces. You can be at ease. I will sleep with your woman every day, and let your woman give birth to my children. Furthermore, it will be the kind that will give birth to children endlessly. I will let your soul see me *ck your woman, and you will only be able to watch. Huang Feidi felt that he won the first half, but he lost the second half. From the looks of it, I can only wait for Yun Er's wedding. Or I can start from Yi family. That's right. Kangluo continent? This Yi Hua should have family members in Kangluo continent, right? Hee, this is a good idea. Yi Hua, of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have come back. And you even dared to provoke me. Thinking up to here, Huang Feidi's mood became much better. Since we are talking about alcohol, let us drink to our heart's content. All of the officials stood up and shouted out respectfully, Your Majesty. However, right after these words were shouted out, an imperial guard could be seen hurriedly running in and shouting out, Report! Under normal circumstances, if there wasn't anything major, the imperial guard would be waiting outside. However, only when there was important military information would the imperial guard rush in without caring about anything else. This point, everyone present knew that the border was in a state of emergency. What happened? Why are you so flustered? Huang Feidi asked gravely. Replying to Your Majesty. The scout reported that Shanghai has gathered an army of 5 million, and 3 days later, they will attack the border. 5 million. Everyone was shocked. An army of 5 million. This was something that Shanghai had never done before. Under normal circumstances, a small-scale army would only have a few tens of thousands of soldiers, and even if it was a large-scale army, it would only have a few 100,000 soldiers. The highest number of soldiers that Shanghai had gathered was only 1 million, and that was when Yihua's group was wiped out. This time it was actually 5 million. Did Shanghai's people drink fake alcohol? Did they get drunk? Chapter 1007. Following the guard's report, the entire place was silent. Shanghai was invading. The scene was unprecedented. Terrifying. It was too terrifying. A rare look of fear appeared on everyone's face. At this moment, even Huang Feidi was frowning. This matter is too sudden. In the past, Shanghai was just a small place. Why did it suddenly become tough this time? He actually gathered an army of 5 million. Huang Yun suddenly stood up, walked to the center, and knelt down. Father, your son is willing to fight the enemy. Huang Li scolded himself in his heart. He had let Huang Yun seize the initiative again. Huang Li hurriedly appeared and knelt down. Father, I am willing to fight. Yihua sat silently at the side. Even if those people from Shanghai were to fight their way to the city gate, it wouldn't be of any concern to me. Yi Yuanqing also walked up and said respectfully, Your Majesty, the war is imminent. Please allow me to fight. Huang Feidi had originally wanted to remove Yi Yuanqing's military power, but just as Yi Yuanqing had said, a great war was imminent, and it was time to use people. How could they let a general marry because of their own selfish desires? This was also a move that would damage the morale of the army. The gains did not make up for the losses. Therefore, Huang Feidi said solemnly, General Yi, go to the border now and guard it strictly. This empress will immediately send reinforcements. Yi Yuanqing was overjoyed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. This general will head over right away." Yi Yuanqing stood up, took a look at her big brother, then turned around and left. The elegance of a female general was undeniable. Shan Yu looked at this fiancé of his and blushed with shame. The way she walks doesn't have any hint of a woman at all. It is truly a pity for that face and that figure of hers. After Yi Yuanqing left, the atmosphere became a little heavy. Yi Shan let out a breath. My daughter's back view is extremely similar to the back view of Yi Hua's back view when he left. This time, Shanghai has sent 5 million over. My daughter is in a very dangerous situation. Shan Junren said respectfully, "Your Majesty, I'm afraid the attack from Shanghai this time is a premeditated and planned operation. We can't let our guard down." "What opinion does Prime Minister Shan have?" Huang Feidi asked indifferently, ignoring his son who was kneeling on the ground. Shan Junren said in a low voice, "Does Your Majesty still remember the once every 100,000 years supreme?" The moment he said that, the crowd began to discuss fervently. Their faces were filled with shock. If it wasn't for Shan Junren's reminder, everyone would have forgotten about it. How could Huang Feidi not know about the Supreme, that appeared once every 100,000 years? If he could obtain the Supreme, he would be able to advance from a Supreme Being to a Supreme Being. This was the fastest way, but it only happened once every 100,000 years, and it might not even appear. Legend has it that only by relying on a strong murderous aura and countless souls of the dead could one draw out the Supreme. No wonder the Demon Emperor sent 5 million people to attack the border. His goal was supreme. If he could break through his own borders, that would be an even better ending. Of course, Huang Li and Huang Yun also knew about the legend of Supreme. Greed immediately appeared on their faces. If they could become a supreme sovereign, that would be such a great moment. The throne would be more than enough. He could even open up his own little world and become a ruler. "Prime Minister Shan, please continue," Huang Feidi said softly. "Your Majesty, we have no choice but to accept the challenge. Moreover, we should snatch Supreme." Along with Shan Junren's words, Huang Feidi slowly closed his eyes. "If we can snatch Supreme, that would be great. However, this Supreme will cause a lot of people to fight over it, and some Supreme Beings that are not under my jurisdiction will also make a move. Seems like the losses of this time snatching of Supreme will be disastrous. If we don't want the Demon Emperor to succeed, we shouldn't send any troops. However, this also means that the border will be lost. Afterward, the Demon Emperor would be able to directly kill his way over to Lingdu. Along the way, he would burn, kill, and plunder without a single bit of benevolence. If the Demon Emperor's 5 million people were to enter Lingdu, the losses would be even greater. If that happened, their losses would be even greater, so reinforcements were absolutely necessary. Furthermore, they should snatch that Supreme." Qian Yuqing only hoped that Yi Hua wouldn't go, or that His Majesty wouldn't allow Yi Hua to go. In the past, Yi Hua had disappeared for 1,000 years because of this. Qian Yuqing didn't want to see Yi Hua getting hurt because of this. "Prince Yi, what do you think of this matter?" Huang Feidi suddenly asked. Just now, Yi Hua was thinking about that Supreme. When the time comes, there will definitely be a lot of Supreme Beings that will come. This will be a good opportunity for me to take revenge. The people of Shanghai all deserve to die. Kill. Yi Hua said with dense killing intent, looking like he had already made up his mind to kill. However, right now, Huang Feidi was thinking of another possibility. Just like last time. Continue to kill Yi Hua. At that time, Yi Hua will die on the battlefield again. As for my 2 sons, I will definitely send them over this time. After all, this is such a big matter. The members of the royal family will definitely have to participate. If not, others will say that my children are cowards. All right. Huang Yun, listen up. Yes, Your Majesty. You are to bring 3 million soldiers over to reinforce the troops. Yes, Your Majesty. Jackdaw felt guilty, so he agreed to help Huang Feidi seize the throne. He would even listen to Huang Feidi's orders. This could be considered a form of compensation. But as time passed, Jackdaw, a supreme, wanted to break free from this shackle. However, as a supreme, He naturally had to acknowledge his words. That was why Jackdaw used this opportunity to say that they were even. Back then, I stole your supreme. This time, I'll help you steal it. It's fair. Very few people knew about this matter, and only Shan Junren knew about it. Back then, Shan Junren could be considered as Huang Feidi's advisor. For Huang Feidi to be able to sit on the throne, Shan Junren's contributions weren't small. After all, a newly ascended emperor had to have some talented people by his side. Otherwise, how could he have obtained the throne? Hearing the emperor's words, Shan Junren understood. Accompanying a ruler was like accompanying a tiger. Only by following orders could one live. Your Majesty, the Crown Prince's actions today seem to be to rope Yihua in. Shan Junren still wanted to ask the emperor about his decision. Huang Feidi let out a sigh of relief. The struggle for the Crown Prince position has always been cruel. Back then, wasn't it the same for us? Right now, the only one who can compete with Huang Yun is Huang Li. I don't have any hopes for anyone else. Shan Junren felt helpless. The emperor's sons didn't have any great ambitions. It was as if they only wanted to protect their own fields and live out their days. Only Huang Li and Huang Yun had this kind of attitude. Based on the emperor's arrangements, it seemed that the emperor was prepared to let the crown prince and the ninth prince fight it out. After all, this was also a custom. This time, the people fighting against Shanghai were a comparison. The emperor gave the ninth prince abundant resources, while the crown prince received much less. If the crown prince was a capable person, he would be able to turn defeat into victory. It seemed that the emperor was also giving the crown prince a chance. After all, under such a disadvantageous situation, the crown prince was still able to obtain good results. Based on this deduction, Shan Junren felt that the emperor might not necessarily hand over the position of the crown prince to Huang Yun. Your Majesty, this subject still has one more thing that I want to ask. And what is it? Your Majesty, why did you want to betroth Yi Yuanqing to my son? Shan Junren didn't understand. This move of the emperor's is very strange. Huang Feidi said faintly, consider it as leaving a memory for Yi family. Shan Junren's expression changed. So the emperor is planning to slaughter everyone in Yi family. However, is the emperor really keeping Yi Yuanqing alive for the sake of a memory? Shan Junren didn't know. That's right, that city extermination case, how is it going? They have been investigating it for a few years, right? Huang Feidi suddenly thought of the case from a few years ago and asked casually. Replying to Your Majesty, there is still no news from the people from the Ministry of Justice. Huang Feidi wrinkled his brows. This matter cannot be handled carelessly. After all, there was someone who dared to exterminate a city in his own territory without leaving a single person behind. Not even a corpse was left behind. This subject will supervise the matter. Go back and rest early. Perhaps, that Yi Yuanqing might not even be able to return. Shan Junren swallowed his saliva. This subject shall take his leave. After Shan Junren left, Huang Feidi didn't go to sleep. Instead, he sat in front of his study table and pondered. The candlelight shone on his face, making him appear very gloomy. On this night, Huang Feidi was actually very angry. He had only suppressed his anger until now. After a long time, Huang Feidi shouted out, Men! Sky Bearing hurriedly walked in and said respectfully, Your Majesty! Go and call a few concubines over. Sky Bearing went into a daze for a moment, then said respectfully, Yes, Your Majesty. Seems like this is also a kind of good job for Sky Bearing. After all, the Emperor doesn't call out names sometimes. However, the right to choose is all on Sky Bearing. Sky Bearing can call whoever they want. This is too awesome. Yihua, who returned home, made Lu Jing feel at ease. When the other brothers found out that their big brother returned home safe and sound, they were also very astonished. Big brother was actually able to return home alive. This is simply a miracle. Therefore, Yihua hurriedly went to ask his father what happened and why his second sister didn't return home with him. This Yi Juetian's strength is still a bit lacking. After all, he can't even defeat that father of his. Does he still have the guts? In the future, I still have to train him a little more. How can my younger brother possibly be a coward? I feel that Yi Juetian's personality is very similar to Lai Gu's, but Yi Juetian's guts isn't even 1/10 as big as Lai Gu's. Big brother sister-in-law's sighed. Yi Hua glared at him, and the latter shrugged his shoulders, then immediately ran into the courtyard. Yi Hua let out a breath, then slowly walked towards his courtyard. After that, he pushed open the door with both of his hands, and his brows immediately wrinkled. A hidden weapon flew over. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and grabbed, and a crystal could be seen falling onto his hand. Of course Yi Hua knew what that was, spirit gem. Seems like, "Yi Hua, do you love me?" A beautiful voice rang out, and a beautiful figure appeared from the darkness. If it wasn't Qian Yuqing, who else could it be? Yi Hua silently took a look at Qian Yuqing, then placed the spirit gem on the table. Crazy! Qian Yuqing. No, you have to answer this question of mine today. Qian Yuqing grabbed onto the spirit gem and stood in front of Yi Hua. Yi Hua looked down at the woman in front of him, and Qian Yuqing looked at Yi Hua stubbornly. Quickly scram, don't disturb my rest. Yi Hua said lightly. Upon hearing what Yi Hua said, Qian Yuqing's tears flowed down. Yi Hua, I can tolerate your cold words, but I want to know just how you feel in your heart. There is no need for me to tell you. Yi Hua said gravely. All right. There is no need for you to tell me, right? Then why did you save me that night? And even hugged me? Qian Yuqing pointed at Yi Hua and questioned. Yi Hua sneered. I don't want to see a dead person appear in front of my palace. Is this reason enough? Hearing Yi Hua's rebuttal, Qian Yuqing suddenly laughed lightly. If that's the case, then just save me, but why did you hug me, take advantage of me, and even touch my chest? When did I touch your chest? Yi Hua casually said. After saying that, he felt that there was a problem. Qian Yuqing could be seen suddenly becoming bashful and said, Yi Hua, if you want to touch my chest, you can just tell Yuqing. It's not like Yuqing doesn't want you to touch my chest. Yi Hua. Quickly scram, who wants to touch my chest? Yi Hua shouted gravely. Qian Yuqing pouted her small mouth. Yi Hua, this time, you have to be careful, they will make a move on you. I know, you don't have to worry about me. Suddenly, the room seemed to have quietened down, and the atmosphere was a bit strange. Yi Hua. Qian Yuqing called out lightly. Yi Hua didn't respond. Will you let me marry someone else? Qian Yuqing continued to ask. Yi Hua continued to not respond. After a long while, Qian Yuqing took a deep breath. I understand, you rest early, I will be going back. Chapter 10:10. Hearing that Yi Hua asked Daji to go over, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji knew that there was nothing for them to do anymore. You two should rest early and recover your energy. When the time comes, I will bring mother over. Don't look so tired, understand? Really? Aya, we are going to sleep. We have been staying up too late recently, Baiji. Do you still have any facial masks? I still have a few. How about we go and buy some tomorrow? I do need to go and buy some facial masks and skincare products. This place is very dry. Yi Hua was helpless. These two women suddenly started talking about cosmetics. I should just call Daji over first. However, before calling Daji over, Yi Hua found Wei Chong and told him a few things, then went upstairs with Daji. These few days, Daji felt as if she was suffering from depression. Everything she did was boring, eating wasn't tasty anymore, sleeping was also insomnia. Only when Master is by my side can I feel at ease and have the energy to do anything. But now, Master hugged me in his embrace, wow. I am so happy. Master's embrace is so comfortable, so warm, just like last time. There is also a faint fragrance. So fragrant. Master didn't abandon Daji. No matter where I go, I will think of Daji comfortable. We are here. Yi Hua said faintly. Daji went into a daze, then hurriedly left Yi Hua's embrace and stood at the side, not saying anything, while sizing up the house with the corner of her eyes. Daji. Daji was delighted, bringing me into the house in the middle of the night. There is even a bed at the side. Oh my God. Master finally called Daji to serve me in bed. I am so excited, so nervous, I feel like my life has reached the climax. Master is so hateful. After going around in such a big circle, he actually wants Daji to serve him in bed, and he is still so embarrassed. What is there to be embarrassed about? Daji serving him in bed is a very normal thing. This is also something within the Master's duty. Daji could be seen lowering her head slightly and starting to untie the belt of her dress with a bashful look on her face. At the same time, she also had a look of saying that Master should take pity on Daji. Daji's body is weak, if not, she won't be able to use it in the future. What are you doing? Yihua said gravely. Ah, master. Daji went into a daze, then looked at her master with an adorable look. Why are you undressing? Master, didn't you call Daji to serve you in bed? Yihua. This Daji only thinks about serving me in bed all day long. She's even dirtier than I was back then. I'll give Daji the title of Filthy Demon King. The reason why I called you up this time is because I want to give you a mission. Yihua said faintly. When Daji heard that she was not asked to serve him in bed, her mood immediately became gloomy. Everything added up was not as important as serving him in bed. Yes, master, Daji said dejectedly. Yihua put on his clothes, and Daji walked over while carrying a basin of water and hurriedly helped Yihua tidy up his clothes. Big brother, right at this moment, Yi Juetian suddenly walked in, and when he saw this scene, Yihua took a look at Daji and acted as if nothing had happened. Yi Juetian had seen Daji before. Upon seeing Daji, Yi Juetian swallowed a mouthful of saliva. I remember that last time when I was in the pavilion, this woman was kneeling at the side and brewing tea, and the tea was very tasty. She was mesmerized at that time. From the looks of it, she shouldn't be his big brother's woman. If only I could let big brother introduce him to me. Daji sensed Yi Juetian's gaze that was filled with ill intentions. However, in the end, Yi Juetian was her master's blood-related younger brother, and she couldn't disrespect him. Daji could only endure and not say anything. Why did you come over so early? Yihua asked faintly. Daji was currently combing Yihua's hair. Yi Juetian came back to his senses and said, Big brother, mother wants you to accompany me more. After all, you are going to leave tomorrow. Got it. I'll be there after breakfast. Yi Juetian walked towards Yihua with a smile on his face. In actuality, he just wanted to get closer to Daji. Right when I got close to Daji, I smelled a fragrant scent. Wah, so comfortable. Very soon, Yihua finished dressing up. Afterward, Yihua sat at the breakfast table, and Daji served him by the side. At this moment, Yi Juetian asked softly, Big brother. End of chapter. Chapter 10-11. I have something to discuss with you. Yi Juetian rubbed his hands together, and from time to time, he would take a look at Daji. So beautiful. So beautiful. I have already fallen in love with this girl. Yihua, who was eating the fruit Jianbing, asked faintly, Big brother, I'm not young anymore. Last time, mother even said that she needed big brother's help. Yi Juetian's smile simply became more and more despicable. Daji, who was standing behind him, wanted to slap him. Rest assured, I will help you. Yihua said indifferently. Yi Juetian said shyly, Actually, big bro, I already have someone I like. I just need big bro to do that. Looking at his own younger brother's bashful look, Yihua really wanted to send him flying with a slap. Where is the spirit of a man? There is still a woman who likes you when you are like this? To hell with it. What do you need big brother to do? Yihua asked curiously. Big brother, this lady. Hee. Big brother, you understand? Yihua. Daji was speechless. You like Daji? Yihua asked confusedly. Yi Juetian nodded fiercely. That's right. I really like it. Big brother, please bestow it to me. Right now, Daji's heart was in a mess. If master were to bestow me away, then wouldn't I? Master, don't be like this. Yihua wrinkled his brows, then asked faintly, So you want to? Big brother, please help me. I don't even have a wife right now. Mother is still looking forward to me getting married and having children. Yi Juetian hurriedly said. As long as his big brother was willing to help, it would be fine. Yihua wiped his mouth, then said, How do you want me to help you? Yi Juetian was about to roll his eyes. With just a look, I can tell that she is big brother's maid. Of course she is like that. Thus Yi Juetian had a look of big brother, you understand, on his face. If you like Daji, you can go and chase after her yourself. Yihua said faintly. In terms of feelings, Yihua felt that he was free. Daji's happiness should not be based on his own words. Yi Juetian asked softly, Big brother, why did you call Daji over this time? Come and protect mother. I'm worried about you alone. I see. That's great. Yi Juetian was so excited that he almost clapped his hands. His big brother had gone to the front lines, and he was going to be alone with Daji at home. With his looks, how could he not be able to woo a little girl like Daji? Yi Hua shook his head, stood up, and prepared to let Daji meet his mother. Daji followed behind silently, looking very sad. Master actually tacitly allowed my little brother to pursue me. How can it be like this, Master? You should have directly rejected him. Yi Hua also lacked consideration and didn't take care of Daji's feelings. The three arrived at Lu Jing's small courtyard. Lu Jing's complexion looked a lot better these few days, her face was glowing red, and she was actually knitting a sweater. Yi Hua didn't expect that this kind of thing would still be popular in the gods' realm. Looking at his mother, she should be knitting sweaters for her grandchildren. However, he still had to remind his mother not to follow the standards of a child, but to follow the standards of an adult. After all, by the time Ali and the others returned, they would have already grown up. Mother! Yi Juetian happily called out. He felt that he would definitely be able to successfully woo the girl. Daji's loyalty towards Yi Hua would never change. How could it be possible for her to accept another man? That was something that did not exist in the first place. Before Yi Juetian even started, he was already destined to end up in a tragedy. Lu Jing raised her head and looked towards her two sons. However, this time, she directly looked towards Daji, who was at the back. What a beautiful lady. This is. Lu Jing directly asked Daji. She was very curious about the relationship between Yi Hua and Daji. After all, Daji was standing behind Yi Hua. Could this be Yi Hua's wife? Daji's looks are indeed not bad. Yi Hua pulled Daji to the front of his mother and said, "This is the new maid that I found for you. When I am not around, she will be able to protect your safety." Maid Daji. Daji bowed slightly and greeted. Lu Jing didn't expect that this Daji was actually just a maid. With such a beautiful appearance, she shouldn't just be a maid. Lu Jing didn't dare to believe it. After sizing up Daji, she doesn't look like a maid at all. "Both of you, take a seat," Lu Jing said with a slight smile. Daji obediently stood at the side. She discovered that her master's mother was also very beautiful and very benevolent. "This is great. Little Tian, why is your face so red?" Lu Jing discovered that there was a bit of a problem with her son and asked curiously. Yi Juetian was a bit embarrassed. He secretly took a glance at Daji, who was beside his mother, and then a shy look appeared on Yi Hua's face, causing goosebumps to appear all over Yi Hua's body. To actually be able to be shy to such an extent, Yi Hua is simply convinced. When Lu Jing saw her son acting like this, she more or less understood what he meant. This little Tian has finally grown up and knows that he likes women. Daji had a calm look on her face, not moved at all. "Little Tian, you have to work hard." Lu Jing laughed lightly, expressing that she was encouraging her son. "If there is a girl that you like, then go and chase after her." Yi Juetian appeared to be very embarrassed. Mother actually said it out loud, "This is so embarrassing." Yi Hua shook his head. "If you are able to chase after Daji like this, I, the Supreme Overlord, would be able to live stream myself eating such asterisk tea, and it would be the type where my expression wouldn't even change." "Yi Hua, you don't have to worry about mother. Nothing will happen." Lu Jing knew that Yi Hua was worried about her safety. Last night, she had basically offended the emperor, and the emperor would definitely come and capture her to threaten Yi Hua. Yi Hua nodded his head. "With Daji here, I can indeed be a lot more at ease. As for the other people from Yi family, forget about it." "That's right, big brother, there is something that I need to talk to you about." "What is it?" "This morning, I went out for a stroll and heard some very interesting things." Yi Juetian laughed. Looking at his expression, one could tell that it was definitely something good. Lu Jing smiled and said, "What good thing is it? Tell mother about it." "And the things that happened at the banquet last night have all been spread out, and it is very interesting. Firstly, it is said that the emperor broke up a meritorious minister and betrothed Qian Yuqing to his own son. It is a very disappointing move." After hearing that, Yi Hua laughed. Lu Jing was a bit surprised. To think that the news would spread like this. However, it is very normal for the news to spread like this, after all, that emperor was indeed doing such a thing. Then the news of big sister-in-law being hit on the back of her hand by the 9th prince is also spreading like wildfire right now. The image of the ninth prince hitting a woman has dropped a lot in the hearts of the people. Indeed, for a man to actually go and hit a woman, this kind of man was a disgrace in the god's realm. This is simply a shameless action, and the person that was hit was even Chen Yuqing, a super beauty. A lot of men were in a bad mood. What right do you have to hit Chen Yuqing, just because you are the ninth prince? Why don't you go and die? Damn it! Lu Jing had not heard of this matter before and cried out in surprise. What? Yuqing was hit by Huang Yun. End of this chapter. Chapter 10-12. Yihua said faintly, I merely touched it a little, and Huangli said that it was too big. Hearing Yihua's explanation, Lu Jing let out a sigh of relief. Yihua, you have to take good care of your wife. Hearing that, Yihua remained silent. Also, everyone is praising Big Brother for being loyal and righteous, taking revenge for the soldiers in the past, and praising Big Brother's great achievement. Yihua smiled bitterly and shook his head. There is also the matter of the Palace Hall murder incident. There are also various versions of it being spread out, such as Imperial Cloud killing people to silence them and so on. In any case, after the matter that happened last night, the royal family's face is about to be completely gone. Yi Juetian's saliva was bursting out from his mouth, and he felt so great that he wanted to die. Lu Jing was deeply worried. Right now, Yihua seems to have gained the upper hand, but this kind of situation is exactly the same as back then. Back then, Yihua was also like this, he was praised to the heavens by the people. Lu Jing did not want to repeat the same mistake. Mother, you can be at ease. This time, I won't be like the last time. Yihua said faintly. However, Lu Jing was stupefied. Yi Juetian was also stupefied. Yihua came back to his senses. Just a moment ago, when I casually said those words, I ended up calling out my mother. Forget it, forget it. No matter what, this is my birth mother, I have to be filial to her. Although my flesh and blood have already disappeared, but the skeleton of my body is still something that my mother gave me. Lu Jing's eyes were already red. Yihua is finally calling me mother, it wasn't easy. Yihua, be careful. Mother will wait for you to come back. N. Yihua nodded his head. In the past, that idiot Yihua was killed because he was useless. This time, the main body's operation will let them die clearly. However, at this moment, Huang Feidi was furious in the palace. After 1,000 years, Huang Feidi was crazily smashing things. Back then, it was also because of Yihua's matter that he was angered to the point that his entire body was trembling, and he could only smash things to vent his anger. Just this morning, the spies outside came to report that what happened last night had indeed spread. But why was it all directed at the royal family? That Lord Yi was actually boasted to be a god. It seemed that without Lord Yi, Lingdu would die. Yesterday night's scheme was obviously set up for Yihua. In the end, not only did the poop not land on Yihua's body, it even splattered on me. This damned Yihua! This emperor will despise you for life. Men! Huang Feidi shouted coldly. Sky Bearing walked in from outside. Last night, he had arranged for a few concubines to extinguish the fire for the emperor. In the end, he immediately flew into a rage. His anger flared up again. Please don't burn my head. Emperor! Go get Yi Shan. Yes. Your Majesty! Huang Feidi was enraged. This Yihua, this emperor will definitely grab hold of your weak spot. After a long while, Sky Bearing finally sent Yi Shan over. At this moment, Yi Shan was sweating profusely. He already knew what had happened in the morning, and he felt that the emperor would definitely be furious. But just as he finished thinking about it, someone came to make arrangements. That damnable Yi Hua! Do you really want to kill everyone in the Yi family? Yi Shan! Huang Feidi roared in anger. Yi Shan was so scared that he knelt on the ground. Your Majesty, it's not the Yi family's fault. It's all that bastard's fault. You still know that he's an unfilial son. Why don't you go and kill him? Huang Feidi shouted coldly. His Majesty! I can't win against him. Huang Feidi, you still have the cheek to say that. I was hung up and beaten by my son. If I were you, I would go and bang my head against a wall. Yi Shan was speechless after hearing what Huang Feidi said. This is so embarrassing. My face is about to be completely thrown away. After scolding a few times, Huang Feidi felt a bit better and asked gravely, Yi Shan, where is your unfilial son staying in Kangluo continent? What? Do you want me to say it one more time? Did you forget that your ears are at home? Huang Feidi raised his leg and kicked Yi Shan down. Yi Shan hurriedly crawled up and said respectfully, Your Majesty, this subject really doesn't know. Are you asking me to punish him? You don't know? You are still protecting that unfilial son of yours? Huang Feidi pointed at Yi Shan and scolded. Yi Shan knew that the emperor was serious and hurriedly said, My son should know. Perhaps they heard some rumors. All right. Someone come. Bring Yi Chen. Yi Liang Kai. Yizha. Bring all of Yizha here. Yes. Huang Feidi looked at Yi Shan and said coldly, If all of you don't know, then go back after the punishment is over. Yi Shan's face was filled with an aura of death. That damned unfilial son. If it wasn't for him coming back, how could I possibly be suffering? After a while, Yi Chen and the others were invited to the emperor's bedroom. Yi Chen and the others were stupefied. However, Yi Chen immediately knelt down and kowtowed. This commoner Yi Chen kowtows to your majesty. Yi Chen didn't have a position, and it was the same for Yi Liang Kai and Yi Zhe. It wasn't that they weren't qualified, rather, it was because the emperor didn't allow Yi family to become powerful again. Yi Liang Kai and Yi Zhe immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Huang Feidi waved his hand, and Yi Chen and the others stood up. However, father still didn't stand up. What is going on? I have a question for all of you. Huang Feidi said gravely. Your Majesty, please ask. If this commoner knows, I will definitely tell you. Yi Chen cupped his hands and said, All right. If you two father and son don't know, then I will let you three experience the torture tools. After hearing what was said, the expressions of father and son changed. I am asking the three of you. Where does Yi Hua live in Kangluo continent? Does he have any family members? Following what the emperor said, Yi Chen and the others more or less understood what he meant. The emperor is planning to capture Big Brother's family members to threaten him. But, Your Majesty, this commoner really doesn't know. Yi Chen was very terrified. If the emperor knew about what happened in the morning, the emperor would definitely be furious. Trash. All of you are a bunch of trash. Guards. Bring all of you to the Ministry of Justice. Put all of the torture tools on me before putting them back. Your Majesty. I know. Yizha hurriedly knelt down and shouted out. Sky-bearing Empire, who had just walked in, backed out again. There are some things that are better left unheard. Knowing too much is not beneficial to me. Speak. Yizha swallowed his saliva. Your Majesty, I only heard a little bit of it that day. Big Brother lives in Kangluo continent's Wuxia Empire. An empire is so big. Which family is he from? Huang Feidi almost wanted to kill all of them. How can they be so stupid? Your Majesty. Big Brother is Wuxia Empire's emperor. Yizha said lightly. Hearing what Yizha said, Huang Feidi went into a daze, then laughed. Soon after, Huang Feidi held onto his face and laughed loudly. Ha ha! Yi Hua! I didn't expect this. Huang Feidi's laughter was filled with malevolence. I didn't expect that Yi Hua would actually be an emperor in Kangluo continent. Do you really want to sit on my position that much? End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.